Hello, mi familia. Ray Rock here with a different side. If you guys have seen my YouTube channel, you know that it's mostly nature oriented and concert oriented. As of late, we've been talking about the supernatural, and a question arose about the supernatural. And I need to do this to be able to fully tell you the experiences that I've had in my life. And all of these stories, except the first one I'm going to tell you, can actually, even the first one, can be all backed up and proven. These are not fabricated, these are not exaggerated stories, these are honest to God, true horror or supernatural stories, and there's also another side to this that I want to tell you. So, I hope you hang in with me, and being the spirit of Halloween, here we go. So, back in the early 80s, a very good friend of mine, I consider a brother, 5-minute drive from where I'm at right now. Well, his mother, so to say, is about as close to a medium as you can get. So anyway, to speed this story up, and this is in the papers, and unfortunately, I have to start this off with probably the most terrifying story and sad story. So, all of us we all know what a Ouija board is. We probably all used a Ouija board. And, well, back in the day, my good friend, and, well, his mother, husband, and their next door neighbors that they knew for years and years and years. Both my buddy and their next door neighbors, they both each had 4 kids. And, well, one night, my friend's mother, which, like I said, I would call her a medium, witch, or however you want to put it, was with her neighbor's, husband. Her husband and his wife had fallen asleep, so they decided, hey, for kicks, let's break out the Ouija board. Now again, this took place not for 5 minutes from here in Darby, Pennsylvania, in, I believe it was 1984. Now, if you guys are familiar with your typical row home, how they're set up, they're in what would be the dining room. And in their particular dining room, one of the walls was a straight up mirror. So just the two of them, were, I can't say playing with the Ouija board, because to me, it is not a game. And what happened after that is one of the most terrifying things that I've ever heard. And then after reading about it, not that we all didn't believe it at first, and we didn't hear this from her firsthand. It took my buddy's older brother to tell us this story, because she would not tell us. And what happened was, she and, again, her neighbor's husband, Ouija board, they're sitting there, and of course the thread starts moving. And, like you do, you ask, who are we talking to? And it kept saying stop. They didn't. They kept asking. And finally, the needle stopped moving. And it went up. It went up to the numbers, and cheesily enough went to 666. At which point, the man's reflection showed him burning with not 2 horns but 1 horn, and him completely engulfed in flames, his reflection. And my friend's mother, I can't say names, but she looked at him and said, "Do not look in the mirror." And he goes, "Why?" And he looks in the mirror, and this man turned pale white. At which point, he took off running out the front door. Now, across the street, coincidentally, was a graveyard. And when you run down these steps across the street, there was about a 3-foot grass incline. And then you know them big metal, around graveyards, the big metal things that hook out like that? Well, this man from the sidewalk did a vertical, had to be over 20 feet, jump into the graveyard and ran. This was the last anybody has seen of this man. He left his wife and 4 kids behind. He ran through a hardwood door and a storm door like it was nothing. At the front door and leaps over this graveyard fence, takes off. Now mind you again, my very good friend, our very good friend's older brother's telling us this story. Now, imagine this happening. Now this is the part that's in the papers, Man runs into graveyard leaving wife and 4 children behind. To this very day, he's never been found, he's never been seen. He was looked for, but nobody ever found him. If you can imagine this, if you can picture this, imagine somebody jumping over a steel fence like that, taking off in a graveyard. Imagine looking into a mirror and seeing your reflection fully engulfed in flames. Before, we were told, stories like that, like some freaky things have happened, So, moving forward, after we were told this story, of course, we were told, at a younger age, we were maybe mid-teens, so of course we get excited and we want to play with the Ouija board now. Smart move, kids. So, naturally, we get a Ouija board. And there are multiple stories, which I'm about to tell you some of the extreme. And there are other, smaller things that have happened, and I gotta tell you, it only works in this particular house. We've went to graveyards, and it did nothing. We've done all kinds of things in alleged haunted houses, or places that are supposed to be spooked. Nothing. So, let me start with me and my friends at this time. Now, mind you, we're all, in our, we're about 15, 16, 17 years old, during this period of time. And in the basement, same house, he had a pool table, with the light above, right? So myself and 2 other people are, have our hands on the needle and the Ouija. And there's about 4 other, that are playing pool at the time, Now, not everybody believes in this. And I get that, I mean, a lot of people believe that spirits aren't a real thing, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So, half of us, how there's when you're kids, you got a bunch of buddies, you know what I mean? But anyway, so we're playing with the Ouija. Sorry, I don't mean to use the word playing, but I'm trying to think of a better lack of a word. But anyway, using the Ouija board, and it's moving, but it's not saying anything specifically, So all of a sudden, it ends up spelling pool table. And, the person that was speaking at the time asked, "What does that mean?" Now, the pool light above the pool table that he had ledges, obviously on each side for chalk or where we put our bottles at or cans or whatever it may be. Now this thing is stacked with all that stuff, right? All of a sudden, this light starts swinging like a pendulum, slow. Nothing's falling off, you know. And in this basement, there's a drop ceiling, okay? So here's the ceiling, and this thing it's not hitting the ceiling, but it's going all the way there, and it's starting to move faster. Now we're just all staring, and our buddies that were playing pool that did not believe in this are completely freaked out at the moment. Us, we're looking over like, is this really happening? So still, this is going on for about 2 minutes, which felt about a lifetime for us. Imagine this. Now this thing is swinging. These bottles are not falling. Nothing is even moving. And now all of our hands, if you know the rules of a Ouija, you do not take your hands off, you know. You do not do that. Or the saying goes, if people do, you know, the last one with their hands on can come possessed. So we always took that seriously and never did it. So this needle is still spinning, and the light above the pool table is still pendulum swinging. Faster, faster, and faster. Not hitting the ceiling, and nothing's falling off the ledges. The needle stops. Boom. Dead stop. It just stopped. And that feeling in the air just dissipated. And that was our first encounter with a very supernatural event, and turned our 4 buddies, there were 7 of us in the basement at this particular point in time, that did not believe, that after seeing something like that, had no choice to believe something like that. Another time. Now a lot of these stories that I'm going to tell you all take place in the same basement. This only seemed to work in this house with a Ouija. So the next time, you know, let's say 8 months later, okay, there are times we tried it and nothing happened, you know. It only seemed to work when his mother was in the house, which is even a little bit more weirder. So anyway, another time. Again, you know, this time it wasn't us. It was my buddy, older brothers, and his friends. You know, they're all drinking, you know, and of course one of their buddies, you know, he goes, oh, this is bullshit, you know, none of this is, he goes, you guys are ridiculous for doing this. Knowing the story, reading about it, knowing what had happened, the first story I told you. So, there, you know, it starts spinning, and the guy that the guy that was a skeptic, you know, he was pretty drunk, you know what I mean, but not acting like an asshole, but, you know, he was just, you know, he gets like, get over it, you know, this is all bull, you know. The board kept going and kept saying Steve Carbad. The guy's name was Steve, you know, Steve Carbad. Now, here's where we got in trouble. My friend's mother came down the steps, seen the Ouija board, and first of all, before she noticed the Ouija, she comes down and says, Steve, you're never going to believe what happened. He goes, what? She goes, a trash truck. Now, mind you, it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Why is a trash truck out in the first place? Anyway, he had this little red car, right, that we used to make fun of all the time, which is a hoopty. But anyway, this trash truck comes barreling down the street and smashes his car into, there was like a little ghetto, you know, basketball court. You know, my buddy's house was second to the last, you know, in his row home. And where he was parked, he was the last car. So anyway, this trash truck, boom, smashes into his car, you know, and pushes it all the way into this ghetto basketball court. And again, the whole time, you know, he's thinking, you know, his friends are messing with him because it keeps going. And so all it's saying is Steve Carbad. This is all it's spelling out, you know. And they're like, oh, you're moving it, you know, get out of here. You guys are full of shit, you know, all this. when I tell you this guy's car was smashed into a little can, it was beyond total. You know, it was almost hard not to laugh, but so turned him into a believer, you know, because really, you think someone paid somebody to come down, barreling down the street and smash this dude's car? No. So the second part to the story is after she told him what happened, my friend's mother, after the first event that I told you happened, she forbid us to even touch a Ouija board. She did not want it in her house. Well, she grabbed this thing and ripped it in half. And that was the end of us ever having a legitimate Ouija board. But, like I said, she came down, told us, that story. They ran outside, she noticed the board, ripped it in half, and of course the rest of us went outside to find out, this, this dude's car is just wrecked. So, we made a Ouija board, and we still had the needle. So, once again, we're all in the basement. And, we're going, and it's a beautiful night out, it's a summer night, we're off from school, July, August, something like that, and, like I said, it's beautiful, not a cloud in the sky, nothing like that, and here goes the needle start moving, and it's spelling out lightning. Lightning. It keeps repeating lightning. Now, out back, if you were, like I said, we always hung out in the basement. So if you go out back, there was a power plant, which ironically did not power the city we were in, which is Darby. It powered, I think it was Glen Olden or something like that. It was a few, cities away. Why, I don't know, but that's just how it worked. Well, anyway, a huge bolt of lightning, Again, there's about 3 or 4 of us, using this, and this bolt of lightning. Now, we can't see it. We're in a basement, and this door didn't have windows, but we heard it. No thunder, no nothing, just a crash. We didn't even know it was lightning that had struck until we go out back and just see the whole power, that whole utility, area is engulfed in flames. Well, Glen Olden lost power for 3 days on account of this. This lightning came down and just knocked power out everywhere. Which, again, may seem minor, but again, this is just odd things that we've witnessed, you know what I mean? There's just smoke, there's sparks flying everywhere, there's fire, it's just crazy, and of course, we're spooked, Lights didn't even flicker in the basement we were at. All we hear is a loud bang, So, let me give you one more story, and then I'll move on to a few other things, so this doesn't run 20 minutes, because there's quite a few other things that happen. So, we're, once again, same basement, same place. This time my hands were not on the door. As a matter of fact, I was playing pool this time with 2 other of my buddies, playing 9-ball. So anyway, no, the thing wasn't swinging this time, but it was absolutely bananas. But anyway, this time, I don't know what they're saying. Come to find out, they said, open door. The Ouija board is saying, open door. And whoever was talking at the time said, no, you don't want to open the door. And all of a sudden, boom. This door is deadbolt shut. This is a specially made door locked, my friend, our friend's older brother was a cop, so everything was reinforced, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, this door was, another loud bang, only this time it was like Brock Lesnar just booted the door in, and just boom, this door comes flying open off the hinges, okay? So we all get whiplash, and, you know, we're just staring at this door. Of course, no one's standing there, you know what I mean? And whoever was talking at the time, now the needle's still spelling out open the door after it just was kicked off the hinges, you know? Now myself, I went out and I'm looking, you know, no one's there. Of course no one's there. So as I'm standing by the doorway, the door reattaches itself back to the door, locking me outside. The weird part is now it's relocked. They can't open the door to let me back in. Now nothing happened to me. I didn't get hurt. This door came back up, not quickly, but it came back up, and now you're talking about twisted metal, okay? These hinges, this door repaired itself. Like nothing happened. Almost in slow motion. And the way I was standing in the doorway, imagine, you know, now I didn't know this, they're saying, you know, they're like, Rock, move, man, move, you know, I'm like, what are you talking, and as I turned back is when I realized that the door was shutting, you know, I'm like, at this particular moment, I'm like, okay, this really just happened, you know, so, like, nothing happened, and something huge just happened, because to kick, you know, we're playing pool again, mind you, this door is knocked off the hinges, solid metal door, and of course it's going to startle you, you know what I mean? So, just as fast as it did, you know, look over, you know, and then just go real quick to see, you know, who kicked the door in, you know? So, when the door popped back on the damn hinges and locked itself, you know, I ended up going back around the front door, you know, and of course my friend's mother was there. She goes, what are you doing? You know, because we never went in the front door, you know, it was uncommon for something like that. So I, you know, just playing it off because we were told never to use the Ouija board. Now, mind you, this time, you know, and a bunch of other times, we're using a made one. You know, this ain't, you know, it doesn't matter what you're using. You don't need to buy one, you can make one. And again, this is living proof of that. So, imagine that, you know, you're looking to see who just kicked the door in and no one's there. And the door rehinges itself, and now you're outside. That's not spooky at all, no. Just fine. So, you know, after them trying to open the door and unlock it, like I said, they couldn't. Around the front door, went in the basement, and away the Ouija board went. We were done for the night. So, let me move on to a different story, because there were other stories that happened there. There were times where the lights just went off. There are other weird things, just, I mean, where the pool rack was, fell. Oh, there's a lot of weird things. And again, every single time something happened, like I said, there's a lot of times things didn't happen, but every time something did happen, his mom was home. So, I'm here in Philly right now, which, after I tell you this next story, I'm going to take you somewhere else in my place to show you something else, but before I do that, I want to tell you this. My dad and I, let's say about 10 years ago, we were actually going to where I now live in the mountains. And so we're driving, and at this particular point, you know, it's about actually around this time of the year, you know, there's not much growing in these particular fields, you know, so it's just open highway, you know. We weren't on the highway, but like the way these roads are in the mountains, you know, it's just 2-lane open, you know, and there's nothing on either side. I mean, nothing. So, you know, my dad, you know, we never really got into, you know, quote, spirits, you know, and things of that nature. But, anyway, we're driving, and we see a woman, you know, clear as day, you know, maybe about a mile up in front of us. She's walking on the side of the road, so I'm like, Pop, should we pick her up, man? There ain't nothing for miles, you know? Like, there's no houses, there's no civilization. She's just in the middle of nowhere. You know, we should probably pick her up, yeah? Now, and when I said that to him, you know, we both thought about it, went back and forth, and ultimately decided, yeah, let's pick her up. Now, this woman we're seeing, you know, she's dressed in what appeared white to me, you know, which is kind of freaky in itself. You know, there's just something about that is just off-putting, you know. That's what it was. So, anyway, we decide, yeah, we're gonna pick this woman up. You know, again, father and I, my pop and I, we're driving up to where I live now in the mountains. And, as we're going, we go down, not a hill, but just enough where this woman comes out of focus. And as we come up, this woman, gone. Now, Pop and I didn't say nothing to each other, you know. We both knew what we seen, and then we both knew what we seen after we just dipped down and she just barely goes out of view. As soon as we come back up, I mean, we're talking 2 seconds, 3 seconds tops. Gone, you know. And right about where she was, you know, we slowed down. There's nobody behind us. There ain't cars for miles at this point. It's dark out. And gone. Just gone, you know. And we didn't say anything to each other for about, it could have been 5 minutes, it could have been 10 minutes, it could have been 2 minutes. Honestly, I don't know. But, so finally I looked at him, I'm like, Pop, and he goes, yeah, I know. I'm like, that's weird, right? He goes, yeah. Now, again, he's not one to talk about some, you know, things like that, or even listen, you know, to stories that I had just previously told you, but after that, his view changed drastically on that, you know, and some things are just undeniable. You see it and you can't refuse it, you know. It's not an illusion. It's not just shit happens. Crazy shit happens. Apparently, there's too many things that I've seen that have happened, you know. It's just weird. Now, Dakota and I were actually just talking about something different. It's a feeling you get. And to explain that is very difficult. I don't want to say a sixth sense, you know, like the movie, you know what I mean? Like, I see dead people, you know, because I don't think I've seen a dead person. Honestly, I don't know. But there's a feeling where, like I said, when these things happen with the Ouija board, you know, there's a feeling in the room that is very hard to explain unless you, like many of you probably have, or some of you at least, have felt. The complexion of the room, the atmosphere just changes, and when it stops, you can feel it go. You know, just like you're doing whatever, you know, just doing your regular whatever you may be doing, you know, and then all of a sudden, this feeling comes over you. And yeah, sometimes it is like in a movie. Sometimes, you know, you become cold. Sometimes the hair on the back of your neck, it does stand up, you know. Sometimes you just get this notion that something is off, you know. Now, up until about 2 years ago, I was a very heavy sleeper. And, you know, I really wouldn't wake up for much, you know what I mean? Unless it was an emergency, but, like I said, there are times where I woke up out of a dead sleep, and what I'm about to show you now is, you know, that happened here is a story. So if you'll bear with me, let me take you and show you firsthand. Alright fam, forgive the madness of this room, and yes, very top, that is from Dazed and Confused, that is a legit paddle. But the bat, this bat, now notice Sorry for the mess, but believe it or not, there's a couch underneath of this bat. Okay, just to put this in perspective. Now, I'm not so stupid to put a bat where if you were to sit down, roughly, this bat is going to fall and hit you in the head. When I tell you all this stuff is secure, it's secure. Okay? Again, to put things in perspective, this desk that you're looking at right here, okay? At one point, this desk used to be over here, literally attached right here. So when you would walk into this room, and again, apologies, this desk was right here. So you'd have to walk. It was like a maze coming in here. So this bat somehow managed to make it over this desk without hitting anything, moving anything, and it would fall right here. In the manner of when you open this door, you couldn't because it would block it. Now, where it says Louisville Slugger on there, that would always be facing right here. The bat landed in the same place every time on 7 occasions. Now, when this happened, like I said, I would wake up out of a dead sleep. Now, I've never seen the bat move. It's not like somebody came in here and took the bat off and put it over there as a joke, No one's here. Even when there was, someone here, it wasn't funny, it was just odd, It wasn't scary, you know what I mean? It was just odd. But on 7 different occasions, and, this desk was just, again, in the way, which is why, I ended up moving it, and again, my apologies, looked like a bomb went off in this room, but yeah, that bat, like I said, on 7 different occasions, ended up right here. And every time that happened, I got that same feeling that I was telling y'all about, and it woke me out of a dead sleep. And every time, these are the only times, it's freezing in the room, And it didn't matter if it was a summer day or what it was, but this bat is just wild, And like I said, it is secure to the wall because there's a couch there. So obviously I don't want anybody just, flopping on, the couch and, getting popped in the head with a bat. And 3 times it had done that while the desk was in the dead smack middle of the room. Why it was there, don't ask me. I don't know what I was thinking. But it cleared everything. The TV wasn't on there. If you remember 3 seconds ago, there's a TV on top of there. That wasn't there. But there was a computer monitor. Cleared all that stuff, didn't touch anything. Same spot every time. And